Nightwing issue 54. It's Lobdell along with Fabian Nicieza on writing with Gary Brown and Will Conrad on the art.
Yeah.
So
Should I get the positives out of the way first? Because there is one positive.
what is it?
It's got a fantastic variant cover.
It does have a nice variant cover. That's true. It's a really nice, pretty, and notably,
Yasmin Putri, yeah.
notably, the variant covers for this since Rick Grayson happened have all been kind of just ignoring that it's Rick Grayson. They've just been doing classic Nightwing covers.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's worth mentioning. I will say I didn't necessarily hate the Scarecrow stuff in the sense of from Scarecrow's side of it, if that makes sense.
I didn't until the very last page, and then I hated it.
Yeah, well, I got confused by what they're doing with him now by the last page, but the idea of him being a therapist to Rick Grayson and like him just whatever he's doing and what he's up to, that he's running a hospital. At one point, Rick's like, "What happened here?" And he's like, "Oh, there was some sort of violent outbreak last week," and that was the end of last issue where he made all the people go crazy with the Scarecrow gas. I was like, okay, I kind of like this idea to do this with Scarecrow, to actually make him, under a pseudonym, be a therapist and actually, cause chaos with people. That idea I thought was okay, but of course, every time Rick started talking about how much he wanted to not be Dick Grayson, I was just like, oh,
I know.
I hate you so much. I hate you. And at the end, he's
can't say like, let Nightwing be Nightwing. I don't want to do it.
And Scarecrow gives him a cupcake when he's released at the end. He's like, oh, so that was your final mandatory, therapy session. Off you go.
Happy birthday, Rick.
How many's is it May, his love interest that he's got right now? He went to help her at like a charity drive at one point for the homeless, and then she shows up at the end and she's like, all kisses, celebrate, sort of thing. He's all happy. He's got a new missus. He's delighted. He's not fighting crime. He hates all that stuff. That's all done. So everything I love about this series in a nutshell. There you go. The idea of Scarecrow at one point, he starts talking about Robin. He's like, "Oh, I once knew this boy," and he starts talking about Dick Grayson as Robin, not realizing that he's talking to the very person. And I'm like, okay, I don't hate this. I don't hate the idea that Robin was fearless has got under his skin. Like, that's something that stuck with him.
Yeah, I like that in concept.
Yeah.
I think it's turned into this weird obsession now that I don't really get.
I'm okay with the obsession because he's a Scarecrow, he's a psycho. I tell you what was bugging me in this though. I feel like this whole idea that he's like, oh, I don't want to be Dick Grayson. I feel like we're getting very repetitious with his like thoughts on that. There's some pages early on where he's in like rehab, before he got out of the hospital, and like Barbara's there and Bruce is there. And it's the same thing again. They wanted Dick Grayson, but I wasn't Dick Grayson, so they made me feel guilty for not being him. And
that's been every issue, hasn't it?
It's been every issue. We've heard it every single time. Which, by the way, the art was maybe at its worst when it was Barbara's face. Like both there and then later on in the issue, there's a couple of Barbara face panels.
I mean, Barbara's face was pretty bad, but so are Dick's shoulders. In that, that walking therapy.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Faces bother me more than anatomy does typically. But
I get why, because obviously that's the emotion, right?
Yeah, it's the most important part. Yeah.
No, it is, but when it's so bad and it just distracts me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And otherwise, like we just keep kind of returning to the cops who are now the Nightwings. Well, one's a cop, one's like a firefighter, and one's like whatever.
And they're like, hey, call him Nightwing, constantly.
Yeah, don't call him Sal or whatever his name is. Like, call him Nightwing because we're out in the field. And he's like, you guys need code names as well. And so I'm sure we're going to have fun code names in the next issue for all these cop Nightwings. But the important thing is that they're kind of trying to take down people. They're kind of succeeding. Eventually, the main one's like caught in the news. Like there's like security, not security. There's like a news chopper, and it's like
like they're chasing someone on the roof.
Yeah, Channel 52. Nightwing's back in Bloodhaven, kind of thing. So it's a public thing now. People now expect Nightwing to show up.
Yeah.
But one of them kind of freaks out and kind of freezes, and it causes a car crash. So
and they're like, let's just not tell the main guy.
Yeah. So we're setting up that maybe there's going to be some problems with some of these characters not
being fit for the task. Who'd have thought?
Not being good enough, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. The final reveal's kind of weird though, because the final page is like Scarecrow being like, "Oh, I'm going to cure this city of its fear," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, wait, what?"
Why does he have a Funko Pop of Nightwing?
He does.
He actually does. He's holding a Funko. I don't get it. Like, I buy that they exist, but why?
Because he's obsessed with. I mean, I guess it's common knowledge that the original Robin became Nightwing.
I think it is, yeah.
So he's just been obsessed that he's like, I'm going to go after that Nightwing. So this cop who's become Nightwing, he doesn't know what's in store for him because he's coming for him.
Doesn't. But it was such a weird thing to see this Nightwing Funko Pop being held by Scarecrow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, those shoulders are bad. It's not as bad as Bab's face, but they're bad.
They are bad, aren't they?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, I wasn't feeling the art in this. Not really
either.
one bit.
And I've got a horrible feeling Will Conrad is who's doing that issue of Hawkman after Hitch.
Oh dear.
I feel like that was the name. Which actually there was an update on that. You know how me and Matt were speculating how it was built in because it was this break issue, and we thought, Hitch will be back.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not. Judging by what Venditti was saying on Twitter, it seems like Hitch is done with the book after 12.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's
There
a
you
shame.
Yeah. That was basically it.
Yeah, it's just not very good, is it?
That said, like in that last scene, the reveal with the Funko Pop and Scarecrow, voicing his intent. He's made 2 dinners. He's made 2 plates of dinner. And he puts one out on the table, and then he's holding the other one as if he's still talking to someone else. And I thought we were going to get a reveal of who he was talking to.
Yeah, me too.
And we never did. It just ends him as going, I'm going to cure this thing of the city of its fear, and he's holding this Nightwing figure.
Yeah.
And that was it. But
I've no idea who he is talking to.
maybe we'll find out.
I wouldn't even know where to begin speculating.
Maybe we'll find out next time. Maybe we'll find out it'll be, I don't know.
Do we have to?
Condiment King. Okay, what are you rating it?
4? Oh.
Yeah, 4 seems fair. 4 out of 10 seems fair. These bad guys, what a shock.